What's going on, everyone? Kyle here from Does Kyle Dig It, the volleyball focused shoe review channel where we break down performance and signature basketball shoes for the sport of volleyball. As always, I'm your host, Coach Kyle, both a volleyball coach and a volleyball player with a very unhealthy shoe obsession. And today, we're going to be talking about the Way of Wade All City 13s. As always, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe and drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the All City 13s and if you think that they're actually superior to the All City 12s that were very, very popular over the last year. With that being said, let's go ahead. Let's break down the traction of these shoes. Now, these shoes actually are different from their predecessors that were using full GCU traction support for the entire shoe. These actually have a split compound, as you can see here. We've got a rubber compound and then GCU in half of the shoe, right? So you can see here the green portion to the black portion is actually that split between those two compounds. You get a nice, real tough herringbone pattern up here, as well as, you get this kind of nice flat pattern across the heel of the shoe. With it being different from the All City 12s, you would think that the traction performance may be significantly different, but no, not at all. These are amazing traction, just like most of the shoes from Way of Wade. Really, really high quality stuff. I would say 9.5, 10 out of 10 on the traction. Even on dusty courts, these things were performing amazing, and they really weren't picking up a lot of dust. I didn't have to do a whole lot of wiping. Just really, really good stuff, as always, from Way of Wade. Now, as we come across the shoe, we talk about that heel to toe transition. These shoes actually do have a nice rounded shape, so you do get a nice heel to toe transition. Even with this kind of large, bulky looking heel here, these shoes didn't really feel clunky in the heel. And what that is due to is the fact that this compound here that makes up this big chunk of this heel is actually a foam compound that's different from the actual rubber that's running through this part of the shoe. This foam compound, it's very, very squishy and it's very lightweight. And what it does is it comes up and it forms this crater pattern that they have in the back of the shoes, because these are the All City 13s. They were paying homage to the Apollo 13 mission with the moon crater in the back of the shoes. But nice light foam compound, not really a clunky heel, really good for those heel dominant strides, those penultimate strides when you're going into your jump approaches. Now, that being said, we also have a really, really good double kind of outrigger here that you can see on the shoe. Two nice little rubber portions that stick out and protrude really nicely. Gives you really, really good lateral support on that traction. Again, like I said, traction, really, really good top tier stuff. Now, earlier I mentioned the heel design of these and their relation to the Apollo 13 mission. That actually continues onto the design of the box for these shoes. Way of Wade actually went out of their way and they made a special designed box that actually has the footprint there of the traction pattern for the shoe on top of the moon. So very cool little attention to detail stuff there from Way of Wade for actually technically one of their kind of, middle of the line, more budget friendly shoes as far as their lineup is concerned. Cool stuff, cool box. Big fan of little small design things like that. Now, as we move up the shoe and we start talking about the cushioning support, these are about the same as the All City 12s. We have full-length boom, but that boom actually lays on top of what they're calling a Euro plate. A really, really interesting looking TPU plate that they have running through this thing. I'm really sure that my amazing editor, Sarah, right now is throwing it up on screen so you can see what it looks like, but really, really cool plate here. And what it does is, this shoe is actually pretty springy, and my goodness, it has really, really good torsional support. You get really good bounce performance and really good cushioning performance in this shoe at that price point. Top tier. I'm saying again, 9.5, 10 out of 10 on the cushioning support for this shoe. Really good stuff. Yes, you could get a little bit better for the actual true impact protection on these shoes, but overall, especially at the price point of $150 with these being a brand new shoe, not a bad option and really, really good stuff. Really high quality stuff from Way of Wade, as always, when we talk about the cushioning support. Now, the only downside to these shoes, and the only thing that I would say would be a small caveat, if I'm really nitpicking, is the court feel on the shoes was not quite as good as the Way of Wade All City 12s or the Way of Wade All City 12 Encores. In those shoes, I just felt slightly more connected to the court with my actual strides than I did in these shoes, but that's me really, really nitpicking. We're having to split hairs there in order to find something that I would say is maybe a small caveat to the shoe compared to its predecessors as far as performance goes. But again, overall, the shoe's really, really high quality. Now, as we move away from the cushioning and we get into some of these upper materials, we have to talk about the Vargra leather is the material for this upper here. And on first touch, it feels a little bit plasticky, but you can actually tell it's really high quality stuff and it's going to actually be pretty durable as you go forward. I have not had any issues playing in this shoe, feeling like it was actually cheap or not super supportive. This material is actually really durable. It grew on me after first kind of having it in hand and seeing it and being like, this looks a little bit weird. It looks a little plasticky. But once I got in the shoe and I actually broke it in a little bit, I do like this material. The only thing I would say is that across the toe here, you get a little bit of creasing on that material as you plan it. And like right as you step in the shoe and you start, putting pressure on that toe, you're going to see the creasing appear. Only a little bit frustrating. And it's not super bad across my shoes, despite me having worn them several times. So not the worst thing, but definitely supportive. Big fan of the materials that they're using on this shoe. As we come up into the heel, not super plush and cushiony. Same thing with the tongue. And it's got just enough cushion so that when you actually lace down these nice thick laces, it feels good across the shoe. But I wouldn't say it's, amazing or stands out in any way. You get good lockdown. You're going to be supported in that shoe. And with the traction and the cushioning support plus that bounce, really great shoe. It's going to feel good on foot. It just, if anything I had to knock it over is that they might have improved the step-in comfort on the upper with a little bit of extra cushioning here and there. But I mean, that's just, again, me nitpicking, splitting hairs here. For the weight of these shoes, average weight of most of my court shoes is 12.5 ounces. These actually came in at 11.75 ounces. So really lightweight court shoe, really good stuff coming out of Way of Wade these days. Really light on foot. I felt light and I really felt, I think it was that Euro plate, just the way that how much pressure and torsional support plus pop you have in the toe, it wanted to propel me forward as I was making my way to the ball, which as a setter, I really liked that superior traction plus that kind of feeling of being propelled by your shoes forward. It makes getting to the ball so much easier as a setter. So I would highly recommend that little bit of court feel that's diminished from the Way of Wade 12s. These have everything that makes up for it. Both are great options. I just think that the traction on these is phenomenal and maybe even a little bit better. So it's just kind of, a dealer's choice on that one. Now, as we get into some of the design stuff on this shoe, there was only the red and the green options that were out when I decided to go ahead and get my pair. And obviously I went with the green. Not the greatest looking shoe, I would say. I like them on foot. They don't bother me. The green and pink's actually fine. I kind of dig it, but I can see why some people might not. There's a bunch of new colorways that just came out that look really, really good. And I'm sure they're going to release a whole bunch more going forward. So, just be patient if there's not one that you like yet. But as far as colorways are concerned, I'm sure there's going to be one that comes down the pipe that's going to actually look really good, especially with some of the design qualities on these shoes. The rubber bits, the Way of Wade logo. I mean, it's a good looking shoe. A little bit of this exposed boom foam here on the outside, but again, pretty good looking shoe. I don't have a problem with the aesthetics at all. Now, the only thing that I would say about this shoe that is very unique actually is that you can see here on the sides, we have the rivets for your lacing. You can actually lace this shoe a extra rivet down if you'd like to. And I'm actually considering giving that a try and maybe doing like a follow-up, like short video or something, talking about, the difference in maybe lacing some of these in the different spots here on the shoe and seeing what that gives me as far as like even more lockdown, more supportiveness across the shoe. But it's nice to have that kind of customization and a cool little unique piece to the shoe. So wrapping up, like I said, 9.5, 10 out of 10 traction, 9.5, 10 out of 10 on the cushioning and support, lockdown and step-in comfort, maybe only an 8.5, 9 out of 10, but overall, Way of Wade All City line, just like the predecessors with the 12s and the 12 Encore, 9 out of 10, great shoe. Awesome performance and just quality across the board. And at $150, not too bad of an option, especially if you're looking to get, maximum tech without going into that, 160 and over price range and everything. Wrapping up, does Kyle dig it? Absolutely. Coach Kyle does dig the Way of Wade All City 13s. I think these are awesome shoes. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Share this type of stuff to any of the volleyball community out there, especially those who have really bad shoe game and they need to step it up a little bit. But that'll wrap it up for the Way of Wade All City 13s. This is Coach Kyle signing off.